So there are two fundamental things that we want everyone who lives downtowns to think about. The two fundamental rules, so you can forget all the others, just remember these two. The first most important thing is the amount of foot traffic on the sidewalk that you have in a downtown. So many cities do regular foot traffic counts so that they can gauge what their health is. So it's sort of like, you know, taking your temperature or you know, getting on the scale every once in a while. You know, it's having that measurement that doesn't lie. It's very accurate. It doesn't tell you the complete picture, but you know, if your thermometer says 103, you don't have to wonder if you have a problem. You know you have a problem, right? If you're on a diet and the scale goes up, you know you have quantifiable information to tell you you're doing something wrong. So that's how it is with downtown. So if you boiled away every other statistic, it's foot traffic on the sidewalk. We've been doing some foot traffic counts, so we'll be able to show whether things change after the street goes in, like we hope, which all the research would tell us that it will, but we want to be able to prove that, and then ongoing what efforts the city or businesses are doing, whether they're working or not working. So there are other measurements. You can measure sales tax, you can measure property values, you can measure rent rates, but ultimately the more people that walk on the sidewalk in front of your business means you'll have more customers, and it's another direct relation. So if foot traffic goes up 10%, then ground floor retail sales go up 10%. It's amazingly tight how that works. The other one is eyes on the street. So I'm in front of this building because it's a bad example. The attorneys aren't bad people. They didn't build this building. But this is built in a time when we really didn't know what we were doing. So you could take it back to an evolutionary principle. When there are lots of people around us, we feel safe. If there are friends and we know that people will help us. And if you're out on your own in the middle of the desert or the forest or the jungle, you're sort of in trouble, right? So we like having enough people around us that it makes us feel comfortable. The things that we do design-wise in a downtown can either add to that feeling of comfort or decrease that feeling of comfort. One of the ways that it increases comfort is if you have clear glass storefronts so that you can see inside and people can see outside. And also when you see people inside, you just know there are more people around you, so you feel more comfortable. So if I'm here and I have a heart attack, I know that the store owner or the customer, someone's going to see me and they're going to call 911, right? Or I know if I'm standing out in front of a storefront with clear glass that I'm less likely that someone's going to come over and mug me because one of those people is going to intervene or call the police or something, right? So we want to have as much visibility as possible. So also in the downtown plans, this dark glass would no longer be allowed. You wouldn't be able to board up windows. You wouldn't be able to have even that reflective stuff they put on windows anymore. We want it to be clear. We want buildings to be built up to the sidewalk. So when you're walking down the sidewalk, you see, we call it a street wall. You've got cars on one side and building on the other. You know where your defined space is. You look down it, there aren't a lot of obstacles. So if there's, you know, some dangerous looking person, you could avoid them by crossing the street. So those are that's kind of our security meter going off in our brain all the time. So we want to design downtown so that that security meter is telling you this is a good place to be. Or if there was a problem, you could see it at enough time that you could avoid it, right? Yeah, it's another thing you're not always conscious of making that decision, but you know it when you feel it. I either feel safe or I don't feel safe. So people will say downtown isn't safe, but what they're really saying is downtown doesn't feel safe. And what that really means is that there aren't enough people around here that make me feel comfortable and secure. So you could say it's not, downtown isn't dangerous, downtown is lonely, right? There just aren't enough people filling up the space to give you that good feeling that you're in a healthy, vital, active place. So designs can change that. We can do events at the right time of day, at the right day of the week to add foot traffic. That helps the businesses. Changing and allowing outdoor dining is huge. Doesn't cost the city any money, although it cost me $1,900 to put outdoor dining in front of my business because it wasn't written into the rules yet. So we changed those rules, and now restaurants won't have to pay that. They can just put tables and chairs out into a defined space. Now for eyes on the street, that means, so if you're walking down this block and there are, say, 10 restaurants with outdoor dining, and there are a few people sitting at each restaurant, you would never think this is a dangerous place because there are enough eyes on the street that you automatically are going to feel safer. The other thing it does is it changes the economics for the restaurants, because if they can have 50 more seats or 70 more seats out in front and they're not having to pay rent for that space, they're getting more revenue per square foot of the space they're renting, which means their likelihood of success or profit goes up, right? So we're helping the businesses economically. We're also helping with the actual and perceived safety of downtown with one little policy change, right? And who likes to sit outside? Everybody. When I went for my permit to add outdoor dining, the guy at the counter said, "No one will sit outside in Fresno. We have horrible weather." I said, I wish I had that button, you know, to send him to a place that has really horrible weather, you know, Mississippi in August or Minneapolis in January, you know, see what that's like. Again, we had people sitting out in front every day of the year. On New Year's Eve, I actually had to herd people inside at midnight to have a toast because there are 100 people hanging outside under 3 heaters. We like to be outside, right? So we can encourage that behavior with people. Any questions? We're headed to the last block.